It's time! And now, introducing your host, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada, by way of Boston, Massachusetts, presenting live,
the Bostonian versus the Book. Follow the show on Twitter at Boston versus the Book.
Here he is, Matt Perron!
Enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show, enjoy the show.
Oh, it's good to be back, guys. How are you? Welcome into a Monday morning, Monday afternoon episode of the Bostonian versus the Book. My name is Matt Perrault. We are live on YouTube at Boston versus the Book. It's the same on X at Boston versus the Book. I do apologize for the delay. We're on a little bit late today because the landscapers, they never show up at this time. They're supposed to be here in the afternoon. You may hear the thingamablower, whatever the hell that thing is that they blow back there that makes it really loud and very difficult for me to do the show here in Vegas. So I think that they're gone, or at least they sound like that they are leaving. So we are safe to go. But if you do hear it in the background, I do apologize. That is an unfortunate thing, but good to be back. We are here in the home studio in Las Vegas after the trip to New Orleans. More on that here coming up in the opening line. We are on X, as we always are, at Boston versus the Book and replayed on Sports Grid Television. Looking forward to seeing all of our friends at Sports Grid coming up in San Francisco in a couple of days for Media Row, Radio Row, whatever you want to call it, 1 a.m. Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. And we are always available wherever you guys get your audio podcasts, across whatever audio podcast you or platform you might use. So good to see you guys back in the brigade. In the chat, I appreciate all you guys. Do we have the wrong mic? We do have the. Oh no, it's right, Mike. Hold on, wrong mic. How about that? Did that fix it? Mic input. Thank you, Sonic. Apologies. Did we fix it? Hopefully, we fixed that. That's just the nature of coming back after being gone for 3 days, and you break down the whole home studio. You go on the road and you come in. Okay, fix the microphone. Thank you. I apologize out of the gate. Thank you, Brigade. That's why we have the live chat. That's why things are good. That's why we appreciate you guys being with us for the live chat. I got to tell you, I mean, it's yesterday. I'm 48 years old and traveling. I used to be able to go on the road and go to Bourbon Street and bounce right back and be like highly energetic and really motivated to do stuff. I didn't move yesterday. I got home at about 5 o'clock on Saturday night and I didn't move. I went to bed at like, I don't know. I was all wired because I'd been up going to Bourbon Street and being on Central Time and going to bed Central Time at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So then I ended up going to bed at like, 2 o'clock Pacific Time. So I was all a mess on Saturday. And on Sunday, I didn't like get off my couch. I just sat there really struggling, just trying to get myself somewhat motivated. So the only thing I did yesterday was I did pack all the equipment up for the live show, which will be coming up here on Wednesday. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen for Wednesday because I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen, but I do know for Thursday, it is a Bet Chris Arizona Thursday from Media Row. Friday will be presented by Cut. Thursday's show will be co-hosted by Adam Bjorn. Friday's show is going to be co-hosted by Sim Harmon. So we are set to go there equipment-wise, and I will be traveling up for that, and I can't wait to get into it. So tomorrow I'll tell you exactly what's going to be going on for us for the live show on Wednesday. Most likely, it's going to be a video show on our Discord channel. Okay, that's most likely. If you haven't gone to our Discord channel before, it's very easy. Just go to the website. It's on your screen, thebvbshow.com. Go ahead and click on that.
and then there'll be a link to go to Discord. It's an app that is FanDuel now is doing one. I mean, I guess I thought it was going out. It's not. It's still very popular, I guess. So we're going to do a Discord channel conversation, most likely just kind of like an Ask Me Anything type of show. It's just going to be kind of like, let's just sit down on Media Row and let's just, shoot the shit and see what happens. So that's just kind of what Wednesday's show is going to be. We will have sponsored segments. Obviously, we have to get to our friends at Huel and our friends at Rabbet. So you're going to have certain types of sponsored segments on the show, but it's going to look different and be somewhat different because of the nature of what we're going to do. So I thought that might be kind of a different spin to take the show over to Discord and do a Discord only show. So I'll confirm all this coming up for Wednesday and what time it will be coming up tomorrow on the show. So I'll tell you guys all about that, but we're definitely going to be obviously in San Francisco coming up on Thursday and Friday from Media Row. Let me tell you about the guest list for Thursday and Friday, because this is going to be wild in terms of what we have done from a guest list perspective. On the show live, we're going to have guys like Devin Hester and Chris Myers and Sean Merriman on Thursday. Cameron Dicker the kicker, is coming on the program. There are others like Tyrod Taylor and Donovan McNabb that we're scheduled to talk to them in the 12 o'clock hour Pacific time, which means we'd be off the air. So there may be throughout the day on Thursday, there may be interviews that will drop on the YouTube channel. And so just be monitoring it. If you're not a subscriber to our YouTube channel, definitely go and do that. And then you'll see when those interviews drop, hit the little button, the little bell that will alert you when different content pieces are being put up on our YouTube channel at Boston versus the Book. So I know Tyrod Taylor and Donovan McNabb will be very fun conversations. So looking forward to getting into that. Friday's show equally will be fun. Friday, we're dealing. Well, let me see if I got the guest list for Friday. Where's the guest list for Friday? I don't have the guest list yet for Friday, but Friday's good. Along the same lines for Friday for who is scheduled to be a part of the program for us. It's going to be a loaded, really good guest list for the Super Bowl, and I can't wait to get into it. So that is all happening. Very excited. A lot of stuff. Big show Thursday, big show Friday. We are scheduled to go 2 hours. We could go longer if the guests just can keep flowing. There's no break. I don't know how long Adam can go or how long Sim will want to go on air. I mean, I don't know how long I've gone continuously without a break. I don't know, 3 hours. There are no commercial breaks. We don't get that luxury when we go live from Media Row. So big week coming today here, Tuesday here, Wednesday Discord, Thursday Media Row, Friday Media Row for us coming up here on that. And I would agree with you, Jimmy. I'm picking up my hat today from Corbin. I'm going to go get my championship BVB hat coming up for that. So looking forward to getting over and seeing that. If you haven't seen the hat yet that Corbin designed, that is it. If you are a Patriot fan, this is almost like a must for a brigade member. I'm going to be doing the black and the red coming up here, black and the white rather, for the hats coming up for us. Looking forward to seeing what Corbin puts together. If you have not bought that hat, but you want to, you just go to the website, thebvbshow.com, click on the store, and you can go and order your BVB championship hat. You might need to rush delivery to get it there by Sunday, but I think you probably could get it there by Sunday if you want to go and order that for the Super Bowl. Let's start the program with my 5 favorite things that happened over the weekend. It's kind of a wacko weekend that we'll get into coming up next. It is the opening line being presented by our friends at Huel. They are back again with another offer for you guys in the brigade. These guys have been with us for a bit now, and I had it this morning, and my goodness, thankfully I had a fridge full of this stuff because, as I said yesterday, I've been running around like crazy in terms of just my brain and trying to get my energy back up. I needed protein this morning, and I got a dose of it today with the ready-to-drink shake. I had a chocolate edition, the black edition today, but you also have the black edition powder that is part of this kit. It's the high protein starter kit that is available right now with Huel, 15% off with the code BVB15 If you go to Huel.com/BVB15, it's for new customers only, but it's hard to eat protein. It's hard to keep up with your goals. And these guys are really big about execution and staying with your goals. It's February now, right? So the New Year's resolution that you made a month ago, how many of you guys are actually holding to it? The workouts, the meal, the proteins. This is something that can keep you on your fitness goals with 35 grams of protein in the ready-to-drink shake, the 400 grams of protein with the powder, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, gluten-free, vegan, no artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors. This is talking about under $5 per meal. Check it out by going to Huel.com/BVB15 or use the code BVB15 at checkout for new customers only from our friends at Huel. All right, let's talk about the 5 best things, favorite things, whatever you want to talk about in terms from the weekend. Number 5 for me is a personal one, kind of a selfish one, and it's about what happened over the weekend in New Orleans. We got a chance to go down onto the court after the game to take a group photo from our friends at Betting Pros, and that's just some of the content people and some of those faces you're gonna recognize. That's Debro, who did a ton of stuff with us this summer. Looking forward to getting him involved with us more here in 2026. Joey P, you've seen him before do a bunch of stuff. Andrew Erickson is next to me. He's the Patriot fan, and he's a guy who's been on this show a bunch as well. So really fun trip to get over there in New Orleans and hang out with a bunch of really cool people. And as I've said before, if it wasn't for my relationship with Betting Pros, there is no Bostonian versus the book. Like for dating back to the beginning of the show, without what I have been able to do with Betting Pros and the Daily Juice, if I wasn't able to operate that job and be a part of that company, there is no BVB. So there is a symmetry. There's a symbiotic relationship that has been formed here between this show and Betting Pros. And I am really thankful for that. I'm thankful that I've been given the opportunity to do that by bosses that are understanding about what it means to be somebody in the space. And so I'm able to do a short form 15-minute daily picks podcast that I've been doing now since July of 2020 that we've been rolling with. And then we get to here in 26 and we get to really look to grow the BVB brand and expand what we've been doing because of what I have been given from Betting Pros. So team trip was awesome. Really, really cool time down there in New Orleans. Number 4, this actually happened. And I think when people find out about it, they're going to ask a lot more questions. This is a D2 basketball game where a head coach was led off the court in handcuffs. The Tuskegee basketball coach, Benji Taylor, is who you're looking at on your screen, who was led off the court in handcuffs after a post-game incident on Saturday. The video got posted to a Twitter account called HBCU Game Day, in which it shows the coach being put into handcuffs after the game against their arch rival in Morehouse College. This was after the handshake line. There was a brief exchange between Taylor and police, and then he was put in the handcuffs. According to the Tuskegee athletic director, Taylor, I guess, was asked by a security guard to remove multiple Morehouse football players from the handshake line. Taylor said in his statement that the football players were yelling obscenities while the players were, quote, creating a security breach. Instead, they put the head coach of Tuskegee in handcuffs and led the dude off the court. Like, what are we doing? This is in public. Putting a basketball coach in, this is not good. Like, this is not good. Like, we don't need to be doing this when a rent-a-cop comes in and puts guys in handcuffs and leads the coach. Like, it was a D2 game, luckily. But you see that and you're like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? How in the world? Mikey says because he was asked for football players that were not involved in the game to be taken off the court. That's true. And then a Keystone cop comes in and puts the guy in handcuffs. Takes the basketball coach off the court in handcuffs. Okay. What are we doing? Number 3. Can we stop with this nonsense now? Today is Groundhog's Day, and I apologize if you're hearing the landscaper. They're back. I thought they were gone. They're back. We've got a tradition that nobody knows where, Puxatawny, Pennsylvania is. Okay. No one knows where it is. No one cares where it is. And no one knows why this rodent gets to be so popular for one day and one day only. But according to this Twitter account, in the last 131 Groundhog Days, there's been 110 times that the groundhog has seen his shadow. There's only been 21 times in the last 131 times that we've pulled this damn rodent out of its hole that the thing has not seen its shadow, which means early spring. There's something inherently wrong with that math. That if we're only getting 21 times out of 131 Groundhog Days, that we're only having a short winter in 21 of those, maybe this thing is not that accurate. I'm just saying, maybe it's not actually real. Maybe it's really a dumb tradition that we need to stop. Like, the movie's awesome. Kids, go watch Groundhog Day. Bill Murray's insane. It's an incredible movie. But what are we doing? Did Calci have a line of it? Of course they had a line on it. Every prediction market had a line on it. But it was basically like, I mean, the thing that I don't understand about Groundhog Day, the thing that I don't get about the shadow, during the day, I don't care if it's overcast or not. Don't you always have a shadow? Like, are we talking Peter Pan here where like nobody has a shadow? I don't understand that point. Like, how bright does groundhog back into its hole for 6 more weeks of winter? I don't understand. I just don't, like, it just blows my mind that we do this. It doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why we care about Groundhog's Day. I don't know why we allow this to be such a big thing, but it is a national, international event when the groundhog comes out of its hole to see whether or not the thing gets its shadow. No shadow when there's a 2-foot wall of snow surrounding him. That's true. That is very true. So it's almost as outdated as daylight savings. I would agree with that. Yes. Groundhog Day. I don't understand. I watched the thing this morning and I thought those numbers just seem to be really off. Why are we allowing this thing to get as much control as it does, as much hype as it does? Number 2, the NBA on NBC Sunday night is awesome. I got to admit, again, I didn't do much, but on a Sunday night, there's just not a lot going on. Like right now in the month of February, like what is going on? We're going to have a Super Bowl next week, and then that's it. And then we're done. I think having 2 good games, Knicks, Lakers, Denver, OKC, marquee NBA teams with marquee players on broadcast television in prime time, with the NBA on NBC theme and round ball rock coming back, having that is a really cool deal. I think NBC has hit a home run with this. Look, Mike Tirico is everywhere, and I could do without Mike Tirico, but I understand why they want him to. He's their number 1 guy, and they're going to put their number 1 guy out there. But I think it does work. I think in the moment in which we're talking about, I think it does work. And I think that there are going to be big ratings in a big audience for this as people get used to having basketball, NBA basketball in prime time on Sunday night. It's really good. It's really, really good. I think it's a smart move by the NBA to do this and to say, okay, there's a big window there because Sunday night is the number 1 football window. And it has a lot to do with football. I'll give that to you, but it has a lot to do also with just no one's doing anything on Sunday night. It's why the Grammys is on Sunday nights. Are we back? Oh my. The landscapers tripped my power line. The entire house went dark and then came back up. I can't believe we're still live. That's crazy. So I apologize for that. That was nuts. All right, good. We're still here. Sorry. So that hasn't happened before. The landscapers literally just tripped the power and all the lights went out and then all the lights came back on. So I don't know what those guys did, but that was not me. That was not even the internet. That was the landscapers. So whatever the hell they just did, they knocked the power out and then the tower came back on. So I think we're still live, right? I think we're here. Okay, we're still live. Are we live on are we still live on Twitter? Yep, we're still live on Twitter. Okay. So we can keep rolling. Apologies for that. That's just what happens with technology on that point. I wasn't even bad-mouthing anybody. I wasn't even making fun of anybody, but we are live. Okay, so picking it back up right from there. Apologies on that. But I do think it's very smart for the NBA to take Sunday and say, hey, the NFL let this become a gorilla that no one's going to grab a hold of, and we want it. So we're going to put our stake down. And look, the NBA, it's February, it's March, it's April, it's May. I mean, we're going all the way into the springtime with Sunday night. And then, okay, fine. There's nothing on Sunday Night Football or Sunday night for a couple of months in June, July, August, in September, in August. But then once we get to late August into September, we're right back into football. So that creates from a betting perspective, that creates a really nice 8-9 month window where Sunday night, it's going to generate a lot of handle, not football handle year round, but a pretty good handle for 2 games in prime time that will be there. So really, really smart and a good move by the NBA to do that. I'm a big fan of what that looked like with the NBA returning last night. And for number one, for me, my favorite thing that happened over the weekend, anytime you get a goalie fight, I mean, are you kidding me? Vasilevsky and Swayman going at it. They both got 5-minute majors, and it turned out to be a major swing point in this hockey game because the Bruins were up by 5-1. They were killing Tampa. It was 5-2 when the fight happened and the goalie fight happened. And then Tampa went on to score 4 more unanswered goals, including winning the game in penalty shots over the Bruins. That was just a collapse of collapses, but it's because they had a 5-on-3 for like 3 minutes. And so they scored 2 goals, 5-on-3. They got the game tire in the third period to make it 5-5. The game goes to overtime and then eventually goes to penalty shots where Tampa Bay winds up winning the game 6-5. So the Bruins get a point out of it. But this was great. First fight ever for both Vasilevsky and Swayman. They both dropped the gloves and go and beat the hell out of each other. It doesn't matter who won. It doesn't matter who landed what. It just matters that hockey fights are awesome, but goalie fights are elite. They're just absolutely elite to watch that. I loved it. It was so fun to watch. Wow. The refs were absolutely horrific. Horrible, said Ross. That game was 100% rigged as soon as the Bruins were up 3-1 and the national audience went to the Grammys. Those refs should never be allowed to ref anything. I will say that when it was, it was a million. That is true. That there were 8. It was a lot of time for 5-on-3. That is very true. JPC, thank you with the super chat. Appreciate it. How happy are you the Bruins kept Swayman over Ullmark on and off the ice? You won. Yeah. Look, but Swayman hasn't been great. like I'll be honest, Swayman hasn't been. His numbers haven't been great, but the Bruins have been good. Better than people thought. I thought they would be better than people think. The Celtics and the Bruins both are better than what people think. I bet both of them over on their points for the Bruins, over on the wins for the Celtics. I thought those are my teams, but I thought both those teams were being undervalued by the market because of narrative. The Boston Bruins, generally speaking, they do not suck. Like they do. If they do, it's a small time. It's a 1-2 year thing. Celtics without Jason Tatum has been a complete and total knee jerk. Boston destroyed Milwaukee on Sunday, killed them. Milwaukee, until they trade Giannis, which looks like it's going to be a Bulls trade for Giannis at some point in the next couple of days, like that is a big problem for that organization because it's hanging over their heads. You can see it. They just don't play 4 quarters of focused basketball. And so Boston was down by double digits early in that game. You could have bought the Celtics closed as 13.5-point favorites over the Bucks. In game was down as low as 6.5 for Boston. They won the game by 30. Like they just annihilated. Yeah, the Bulls are trading for Giannis. Yes, that's the odds on. The odds have gone from plus 6,000 to plus 275, Eric, for Giannis to be a Bull. So it looks like Giannis is going to be a Bull. So like that to me, when you watch what has happened here over the last couple of weeks for the Celtics and how well they've played as a team, there's this big Celtics rumor going around that Jason Tatum, and it turned into kind of a national story too, that Jason Tatum was going to sit out this year. He was not going to come back and play because he doesn't want to disrupt what Boston has going, because it's been Jaylen Brown's team and they don't want to change up what's been going on, because most likely Tatum would be coming off the bench. And most likely Tatum would have a different type of role than he's had in the past, right? As the go-to guy. Right now it's Jaylen Brown. It's his team, so to speak. Other people in Boston have said that that's sort of a look at me moment for Jason Tatum, that everyone's been talking about Jaylen Brown as an MVP candidate and the way that Boston is playing. And that for so long, people said that Jaylen Brown wasn't capable of controlling and being a number one option of a franchise. And now he's proving that his number 3 pick overall in the draft when he came out of Cal was justified by Boston, and holding on to him was justified because it gave them some insurance of this exact thing happening with Jason Tatum getting injured. So there's a lot of like Boston, New England narrative running around the Celtics right now, but Boston's been good. That arguably the second best team in the East, and maybe you can make a case for the top team in the East, given what they've done versus the history of the Pistons. Pistons have been phenomenal. Like, let's not be honest. I'm not saying that Boston's better, but I do think that Boston has had more pedigree. Their coach is more experienced. They've won a championship. So if you were betting, who would you bet to win the East, Boston or Detroit? I think the smart money would go on Boston, even though I think Detroit, who now is 3-1 straight up against Boston this year, that Detroit would probably, Boston's probably favored, but it's not going to be a big number. It's probably 120, minus 120 for Boston to beat Detroit if they face off in the Eastern Conference Championship. So it's going to be a fun. Matt, we've bet the Celtics first half team total all last year, but I'm not sure. I haven't sent it out once. ND9 go Irish. The reason, they don't score. Like, Boston does not score the way that they used to. They're still a 3-point shooting team, but they were such a dominant offense last year that going over their team total in the first half was such a good bet. It's just not a good bet right now. It's just, they're so inconsistent. They win because of their defense. So I would say even like the under probably has been really good for Boston, but the books have been pretty good. I mean, the total for that game, I bet the under for Boston and Milwaukee, the total was 217.5. Now, I'm pretty confident Boston went over yesterday from a team total perspective because they were favored by 13.5 points. It was 217.5. So their team total was probably somewhere around like 110. So their first half number probably was like 60, 58, somewhere in that range. And they scored 63, I believe. So it went over yesterday, but it's too volatile. I mean, second half of the year, I think it's definitely something to look at. If Tatum comes back, 100% it's something to look at. But there's a lot of questions around that Celtics team about the future, about how it's going to go. Yes, JPC, math, look out. Not good. Got to be careful with the math. But that's why I haven't. Yeah, over on 3-point attempts should hit. True. Not every book's going to give that to you. Unfortunately. I wish they would, but they're not. They don't always give that to us. But if you didn't watch the goalie fight, I would highly recommend go find the goalie fight because it was awesome. Let's talk about the weekend. All right, what happened this weekend? We got a report from the NFL that they are not going to play ball with prediction markets. The NFL has decided that during the Super Bowl, you will not see commercials for the prediction market companies. They are among the list of prohibited advertisers, just like tobacco and porn companies, which is pretty interesting that the NFL has decided to draw a line here in a very similar way that the NFL drew a line with sports betting companies. If you remember, in the wake of PASPA being repealed, the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act, if you remember, the NFL had to go, I think it was 2 years before the NFL allowed sports betting ads. It wasn't like 2018, boom, you had or I guess it would have been 2019. It wasn't like 2019 where automatically you had advertising for the Super Bowl with sports books. I think I'm right about that. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I think I'm right about that. Prediction markets are in competition with the major companies who have given millions to the professionals, to the NFL, to these teams, both in local markets and in national markets. So like DraftKings is the official sports book of the Patriots. I don't think Seattle has one, but there are some real deep pockets that do not want any competition being advertised to a sports book, and prediction markets are 100% advertising to steal revenue from the sports books. They market themselves as sports betting companies. They market themselves as betting companies. And so even though people don't really know what the hell they're buying when they buy a prediction market swap, they're still coming in saying, okay, it's a bet on a sports book. It's not a sports book, but it is, according to the public, that prediction markets will not be allowed to advertise coming up here for the Super Bowl. Next year, probably. I think next year that's probably possible, but the NFL is not going to let it right now. The Raiders and the Cardinals have both hired their new head coaches. It can't be official here in Vegas because Clint Kubiak is currently coaching at the moment, so we can't have him come in. Mike LaFleur, the brother of Matt LaFleur, is going to be named the new head coach of the new offensive coordinator. The Rams OC is going to be named the new head coach of the Cardinals. So he's going to stay on the West Coast. He's going to stay in the division, and Mike LaFleur will be the head coach of the Cardinals, leaving the Rams and the offense that he ran this year. You have to wonder what that does for the future of the offense and the quarterback with the Rams to see if, 37-year-old Matthew Stafford wants to come back for another year. It's Sean McVay's offense. This is another guy from the Sean McVay coaching tree. Mike LaFleur becomes the fourth guy to come off of this coaching tree as an offensive coordinator because Liam Cohen's done so well. He has Jaguars. Kevin O'Connell's been okay. Matt LaFleur, now a head coach of the Packers, obviously. So we'll see what happens with the Cardinals. But for the Raiders, with Clint Kubiak, so you go offense here in Las Vegas. I like the hire a lot with Clint Kubiak. Let's see what he does with Fernando Mendoza. This pretty much guarantees you that the Raiders will take Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback from Indiana, number 1 in April's draft. He will be paired up with Ashton Genty, the running back from Boise State, and 2 very good tight ends led by Brock Bowers with the Raiders. The defense needs a ton of work. The offensive line is where they will probably spend the most money. The Raiders could have up to $100 million to spend in free agency to get an offense built around Mendoza to protect him. You have to wonder, are the Raiders going to start him week 1 out of the gate up against the defenses that he will see in the AFC West? The Broncos, Chargers, and Chiefs have arguably top 5 or top 10 defenses in the NFL. So this is not going to be an easy path for Mendoza as a rookie to step in. And we've seen rookies flame out and not perform well right out of the gate. I would sit him. I don't think Geno Smith's coming back, but I think you probably could get away with bringing him back for a year and let him go for 4, 5, 6 games and then bring in Mendoza, similar to what the Patriots did with Drake May, and then hope in year 2 things change. The problem for the NFL and all these first-time head coaches right now, these first-year head coaches, is that the fans are going to hear for a week straight about what the Patriots did and how quickly they went from a 8-win team over 2 years to the AFC champions and appearing in their 12th Super Bowl under Mike Vrabel in year 1. The Patriots had draft picks, they had draft capital, and they had a quarterback. And using all of that, they brought in a head coach that fit the culture of what the Patriots have been and what they've been successful as. And now they're in the biggest game of the year. All of these coaches, including folks here in Vegas, looking at Clint Kubiak and the Raiders, all these teams are going to say that's the blueprint that should be copied. And it's not that easy. The Patriots hit on all of their draft picks. The Patriots hit on all their free agent acquisitions. They spent big money on Milton Williams and Robert Spillane and guys that came in and stopped the run and changed what the Patriots looked like defensively. They were able to develop Drake May with a Hall of Fame offensive coordinator in Josh McDaniels. So there's just a lot of things that were in place in New England that are going to be very hard to recreate elsewhere. But all of these coaches, all 10 of them who are in new places, are going to be given a year, maybe 2, by their fans before they start asking questions. Well, why can't we be like this team? Why can't we be like the Patriots? They did it fast. Why can't we do it fast? Today, the NFL announced that we are going to Paris, back to Europe. First time to Paris. The Saints will play in the first ever NFL game at the Stade de France, the National Stadium. I'm probably saying that wrong, but you've got the Saints who will be playing in this game. The opponent for this game, we don't know yet as to who are they going to wind up facing. The Saints are claiming that there are a lot of New Orleans fans in France, which would make sense. I was just there. You know, there's a gigantic French influence, obviously, in New Orleans with Creole cuisine, with the city name, with the streets and everything else. But the Saints will be the home team as they would go to Paris, France, to play a game in the 2026 regular season. You heard Robert Kraft talk publicly about 2 weeks ago about how the NFL wants every single team to play one game internationally every year. That's how many games they want to play internationally. That's the goal. So this is not a Jaguar thing. This is not going to be like a once in a while thing. This is going to be a yearly thing. If the NFL gets what they want, they're going to send every single team to an international game. And now they've done Germany, they've done the UK, and now here comes France. We're going to see Spain. I think next year, Spain is getting a game. We've already seen Mexico. We're going to see a bunch of other countries. Brazil, we've seen. This is just what the NFL is going to do. We're not going anywhere on this. We are 100% going to see more international games, not less international games. How does Canada not have any games? Because of the CFL. I think the NFL and the CFL, I mean, Buffalo basically is Canada. So you have 9 games there. They want 16 international games. Well, I mean, they could get more than that, but they do want 16 at minimum. Yeah, Ross. They want a minimum of 16 games internationally where we go overseas. Every team plays at least one game internationally. I don't love it. I think it's a cute gimmick to send 1 or 2 games overseas. We're up to 8 now. I don't like it because I think we're losing home field advantage. We're sending conference games. We're sending divisional games. Like, these are not meaningless football games. These are important football games that matter for playoff seedings, divisional championships, and whatnot. And we are choosing to send these things overseas. I just think that's a mistake. Okay, that's just a personal preference for me. I'm an old guy. I'm a curmudgeon. Okay. They're playing the Browns. Okay. Saints Browns. Enjoy that. There's a hell of a football game to send to Paris, France. I'm sure people over there are going to be jumping up and down for that. Yikes. Okay. Saints Browns. Okay. Eric is asking me, Matt, since you're much older than I, thanks, Eric. Appreciate that. Do you remember another time in the NFL where there were so many new coaches or coach movement? I do not. No. 10. A third of the league is new for head coaches. Now, they're not new coaches, but they're coaches in a new place. John Harbaugh with the Giants. I do not remember this. No. And frankly, that's why I think if you are looking for betting trends for next year, if you're looking for something that might be actionable next year, I think we might be in for some really sloppy football early, because these coaches are going to need to get their cultures established and get their own players in place. And we're going to find out pretty quick if these young kids who are offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators who are taking over these franchises, do they know what the hell they're doing? Do they have a plan? Do they have a system to build to get these players to fit into? I don't know. And so there could be a lot of problems early in the year next year. Additionally, if you are a coach who has your eye on an NFL job, I mean, the fact that Bill Belichick did not even get a mention to be a head coach with 10 jobs being open, that is wild. I mean, we had some pretty big jobs. The Ravens is a big job. The Steelers, that's a big job. These are historic brands that these owners take their time and due diligence to find out. The Giants, these are, when you get these jobs, you're getting paid a lot of money. You're going to be on prime time a ton. There's a big spotlight on you. Mike McCarthy going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You've got a Giants organization that thinks that they've got the next key to a Super Bowl, much like Tom Coughlin when they hired him. Now they have John Harbaugh coming in, so they're ecstatic. The Ravens, we'll see what this kid Minter looks like. Let's see if he can, can he handle it? They've done pretty well. Harbaugh was a special teams guy, and they kept him for 18 seasons. But no, I cannot imagine. I do not remember another year with this level of craziness going on in terms of coaching carousels and coaches moving around. If your team has an established head coach, the Chiefs, the Broncos, like if you've got a guy who's been there for 4 or 5 years, who has a track record of success, you are completely ecstatic about what next year could look like, because you're going to hit the ground running while all these other guys are going to be drinking out of a fire hose trying to get themselves set up. So to me, early in the year, I would be backing coaches against first-year head coaches. I'd be backing proven, established head coaches. I mean, the Bills, does Joe Brady know what he's doing? I don't know. We'll find out. Sean McDermott was there 9 years. He knew what he was doing. You're elevating the offensive coordinator. Okay. That defense was a problem. Couldn't stop the run. Does that get fixed by hiring Joe Brady to be your head coach? By firing Sean McDermott? I don't know. It feels very like rinse and repeat. Same problems that you had with Sean McDermott, and he was a defensive guy. Now you got an offensive guy. So just like go down the list of coaches and new coaches and who was hired where. And I think there's a lot of questions about what these teams are going to look like, at least in the first half of the season next year, as to what they're going to look like. I wouldn't be in love. The Giants got a home run hire. Other than that, I think everybody that got hired, the other 9 jobs that were then, are all filled with gigantic question marks. And that even includes Mike McCarthy, who has a championship ring, because I don't know what he's going to look like in Pittsburgh. And does that mean they're bringing back Aaron Rodgers? There's been reports that those two guys don't get along, that could get Aaron Rodgers to retire because Mike McCarthy, who is there in Pittsburgh. So who's the quarterback with Pittsburgh is going to be a gigantic conversation, right? So like there's just, Harbaugh was the one home run grand slam hire. Other than that, no idea what these guys are going to do. Let's jump down the rabbit hole. All right, the rabbit hole every day being brought to you by our friends at Rabbet. If you are a new user, you can get 5 free Rabbet cash to use on bets when you go to Rabbet. Use the code Rabbet5 when you download the app in the Google Play or Apple Store for new customers. Rabbet is the first true peer-to-peer sports picking marketplace. They're like Venmo for sports takes. In your group chat, you're all talking trash. Rabbet lets you back it up with real action. They got rid of the house entirely. So instead of fighting an algorithm designed to take your money, you guys create the offer, set the line, and challenge your friends directly. It is social. It is fair. There's no heavy vig. It is the only place where you can truly make your hunches happen. Average VIG can be about 10%. They give you that percentage of EV back to you on Rabbet. Rabbet 5 for 5 free Rabbet cash when you sign up for a new account at Rabbet. Available now in the Apple Store or Google Play for Rabbet. Let's take a look at storylines for the NFL and for the Super Bowl as to where we're going to be here for this week. Everyone is going to talk about Malcolm Butler. Everyone's going to talk about Marshawn Lynch and Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. That's going to be the number one, because it's the last time that the Seahawks were in the Super Bowl. Now, the Patriots have made it since then. And the Patriots, I think this is a really big advantage for New England to have everybody talk about the biggest mistake in recent Super Bowl history, because it's not involving the Patriots. It's all about Seattle. It's all about the players. It's going to be the number one question at media night. It's going to be the number one question of anybody. Like, what do you remember? What do you hope to change? And to Mike McDonald, what are you going to do differently? Like, trying to erase the image of Malcolm Butler, which for the better part of 2 years was the screenshot of, or the screensaver on my computer, that it's the biggest single moment in Patriot history. Like, the Patriots had the 28-3 comeback, but there's no like one moment besides, I guess, the go ahead, the winning touchdown has a pretty cool moment in some cool video that comes out of that. But other than that moment, maybe the Edelman catch where the ball was ping ponging around and he was able to catch it before it hit the ground, stuff like that, right? Matt Ryan getting sacked and fumbling. Like, there are some individual moments about the 28-3 game that definitely has people's attention and we'll talk about, but nothing close to the Malcolm Butler pick. Nothing close to Russell Wilson throwing the football. Nothing close to Bill Belichick not being successful with that defense in practice, and yet Malcolm Butler getting reamed in practice for not getting in front of the receiver. And then when the game was live, he makes the play, he makes the interception, and the Patriots win a game that they should have lost in the Super Bowl. I mean, that was a moment where your defense had to pull something out to do something historic, something we've never seen before, a win like that. And every Seahawk fans, from a 5-year-old to a 50-year-old, all asking the same question: why did they throw it? Well, to answer that question, why did they throw it, so we don't have to talk about it for the whole week, the Patriots went to goal line personnel. The Patriots went to a stout front to take away Marshawn Lynch. The right play call was the slant. I mean, that was the right play call on offense, because that should have been open. It's just that Malcolm Butler knew what was coming. Malcolm Butler had prepared, the Patriot coaches had prepared Malcolm Butler for when they went to this personnel at goal line. And they had a thing that if you watch the NFL films, you see Patriot coaches do this: goal line, goal line. Patriots went into their goal line set. Malcolm Butler knew what that meant, that the Seahawks historically in that moment, knowing trends, called for a pass, a slant over the middle. And it was a very difficult play to stop. Malcolm Butler just made an individual effort that will be remembered in history. A rookie from West Alabama in that moment made a play that changed football history. It was insane. But that was Bill Belichick. That was the preparation. That's what the Patriots did to teams. They made them make mistakes because they were more prepared than their opposition. And so that storyline, everyone talking this week about it and talking about the Patriots and their 6 championships, is huge. Number 2 for storylines: are the Patriots good or are they just fortunate? We're going to find out, okay? The Patriots defense is in the same conversation of the Baltimore Ravens in 2000, largely considered one of the best defenses in the history of the NFL. The Patriots have been dominant in the playoffs. whether it be quarterback play or whether it be offensive play calling, whether it be injuries, whatever you want to come up with. The Chargers scored 3 points. The Texans couldn't score at all. And with a backup quarterback and a guy in the snow who couldn't do anything with the Broncos, the Patriots defense dominated. Now they're playing Sam Darnold. Now they're playing the best wide receiver in the game. Now they're playing an offense that has a really good running back in Kenneth Walker III. Now, no Zach Charbonnet is a big loss for Seattle, but this offense is legitimate. We're going to find out how good this Patriot defense really is. We're also going to find out about Drake May. And can he handle the moment? Because Drake May is playing a defense that will give up points. This is not the Texans defense. This is not the Chargers defense. And this is not the Broncos defense. These three defenses are better in my mind than Seattle's defense. You look at what the Rams were able to do and other offenses, what they were able to do. This defense can get upfield and cause turnovers. This pass rush is legitimate, and the Patriots are going to be tested with an offensive line that has not performed well. However, Drake May, I think, is going to put up points. I think Drake May is going to put up yards. I think the Patriots move the football. It's why I've already bet the over 45.5 in this game, because I think New England scores. And so, to me, I think the story of this game afterwards is going to be Drake May and whether or not Drake May turned the football over. The plays will be there. The offense will be effective as long as Drake May is not fumbling or intercepted in this game. He could have been picked off on the first play of the game against the Broncos. He could have been intercepted. If he was, the Broncos are probably sitting here in this game. Like that play, that drop, that moment where Drake May and how telegraphed he was with that slant to Stephon Diggs. If Diggs doesn't knock the football down and stop that interception, we're probably talking about the Broncos being here, not the Patriots. So can Drake May handle the moment and not be fooled by Mike McDonald, who has been dynamic? His defenses against quarterbacks under the age of 25, he confuses the holy hell out of them. The difference is Josh McDaniels. What can Josh coach up with Drake May so he doesn't make the big mistake? Can he do that? If he doesn't turn the ball over, the Patriots will have a shot to win this game. If he does turn the football over, this game could be what everyone is calling it to be. I mean, this feels so similar to the Rams game. It's not even funny. I'm 48 years old. I know there's a lot of you who are youngsters. There's a lot of you who don't remember the hype, the talk leading up to the Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Rams in 2001. And this 24-year-old kid named Tom Brady, a 6th-round pick out of Michigan, is going to the Super Bowl, and he's going to beat the Rams when the Rams are gigantic favorites. They won the championship the last year. They were going for back-to-back championships. They were killing everyone. Nobody could stop them. And the Patriots defense stopped them enough. The Patriots got the football. They go down the field. Adam Vinatieri makes a kick after kicking in the snow and playing in a blizzard condition with a controversial ending in some forms of fashion, right? Not as controversial. Tuck rule was Tuck rule, right? That was really controversial. But still, snow game, right? Nobody thought the Patriots belonged. To this day, Charles Woodson claims the Raiders were a better football team than the Patriots, right? You're hearing all these things. After the game, what'd you hear from the Broncos? We were the better team, right? We're the better team. This is going to stink. Woodson's been talking about that for 25 years, about the Raiders being a better team than the Patriots that season. It just doesn't matter who won the game. It doesn't matter how good the Rams were. Who won the game? So it's a very similar storyline around Drake May, around these Patriots. So are we seeing a rebirth of the dynasty? No, I don't think we're seeing that, because I don't think anybody will do what the Patriots did ever again. I don't think you're going to see a domination of the league for 20 odd years. But when I was in high school, the Patriots were a laughingstock. I got to college and you started to see that the team may be showing some level of competency under Robert Kraft, and then Bill Belichick gets the job. And I was all over the country. I can't tell you, I saw the Tuck rule in that game in Biloxi, Mississippi. I watched the Super Bowl in Huntsville, Alabama. I watched the Eagles Super Bowl in Huntsville, Alabama. I was listening to the Panthers Super Bowl when I was driving in a bus for the NBA DL, because I was the voice of the Huntsville flight, I was listening to the Super Bowl as we were traveling through Columbus, Georgia. And I was listening because I was going to call a basketball game for the NBA DL. That's how young I was when the Patriots first started back in 2003 and 2004. These Patriots are different. It's a different time. The game is different, but the storylines are very interesting. Are these two coaches the future of the NFL? I think so, yes. I think Mike Macdonald's a tremendous football coach. I think Seattle has got an absolute winner on their hands. Why? They win away from home. The same reason why I love the Patriots, who are 7-2 ATS on the road this season. The Seahawks are 8-1 ATS on the road this season. It's been remarkable to watch Seattle in the Eastern time zone. All the knocks about the Seahawks or West Coast teams not playing well in the Eastern time zone out the window when it comes to Mike Macdonald and what Mike Macdonald is capable of doing and what he has done. Awesome head coach. Mike Vrabel is 50. Mike Vrabel can coach the Patriots for the next 15 years. He'll be there for as long as he wants to be there. He played for the Patriots. He won 3 championships. He coached under some very good coaches across the country. He learned how to make mistakes in Tennessee and then not make mistakes again in New England. He cut his teeth somewhere else and now has become an incredible head coach. And if he wants to be in New England, he will be in New England for a long time. I think these two coaches, this is not... Do I want to call it the gold standard? I don't know yet. They both haven't won championships yet. So I can't say that until one of them wins a championship. But one of them is going to win a championship inside their first 5 years of being a head coach in their current, with their current job. Two really good coaches. If you want to talk about the game, JSN against Gonzo. There's your one-on-one matchup. Can the Patriots with Christian Gonzalez, can they limit Jackson Smith and Jigba? He's the best wideout in the game. I don't know. He's going to, if I had to bet, he goes for 80 and 100. That's what JSN goes for. He just is so hard to stop. What you just hope is that it's 2 or 3 big plays and that's it. What you don't want is him catching 8, 9 balls for 10, 12 yards and moving the sticks, keeping drives alive. You want to give up one big play, let him have one big 40-yarder, one big 45-yarder, and then limit everything else. Everything else is just dink and dunk, bubble screens, quick slants, 3-4 yards, right? Limit that. Give up a couple of big plays, but don't give up 8 or 9 big plays to JSN. Don't allow him on third down to keep drives going. If that happens, that is bad news for the Patriots defense. If it's just a couple of, larger plays, that's fine. That's what happened against the Broncos. He gave up a couple of big plays over the top. The Mims play that was the only touchdown he gave up. That was on Gonzalez that he gave up that play, but that was all they gave up. Now, the weather helped in the second half, but the Patriots didn't give up the big play consistently in that game. Even though Denver tried taking those shots, they couldn't hit. And then ultimately, Gonzalez gets the game-winning interception when they tried to go deep again to Cortland Sutton, and he was picked off. So that's how the Patriots have to defend the best wideout in the game. It's a lot easier to say it than to actually do it, but that's the matchup that I'm watching. It's the matchup everyone else is watching as to who's going to wind up winning that battle. If the Patriots win that battle, yeah, I would agree with that point. Don't play zone. Patriots didn't play zone against Denver. I would agree with that. Don't let that happen because that could be damaging, completely damaging. JPC is asking if the Pats get down to, JCMKC, sorry, he's asking if the Pats get down by 2 scores, do you believe they have what it takes to come back? Yes, 100%. 100%. The Patriots can rally 100%. Again, that defense gave up 27 points to the Rams and 38 points to the Rams. And I know you're going to say, well, the Rams, look at the wide receivers with Puka Nacua. I understand all that. But the Patriots, they're going to face a defense that Travion Henderson should have a big game. The defense, the Patriots match up on 2 different occasions. The Patriots run game up against Seattle's run game favors New England. And the Patriots defensive line up against the offensive line for Seattle, I watched a really cool breakdown about what the Patriots should be able to do against the interior offensive linemen for Seattle. Milton Williams and Christian Barmore should eat. And I'm probably going to be on prop bets for both of them to get a sack in the game. I think Sam Darnold's going to be running for his life up the gut because of those two defensive linemen for the Patriots. I don't care about the team going west has been dominant in the Super Bowl. That's the Patriots. I don't care about the white uniforms for the Patriots. That's been dominant. I don't care about any of those stupid storylines. I'm looking at this from an X's and O's perspective and a matchup perspective. And the Patriots match up against Seattle way better than people think. And if you're sitting here and saying the Patriots are going to lose this game by 14 points and it's going to be an absolute rout, the books are open for business and they're going to welcome your money. They're going to take it by the droves. I said this over the weekend and I'll say it again. The Seattle money is going to show up all week. It has shown up already. There is no reason to bet the Patriots right now. None. You let that number go. You let that number climb. Maybe you might get 5 again. Maybe you get 5.5 again, but it doesn't make any sense to bet the Patriots. That number is not, in my opinion, that number will not close at 4.5. That number either closes at 4 or 3.5. It's going to be just like the Patriots-Broncos game, where the Patriots got as high as 5.5 or 6, and then it was drilled back down with big money on Denver that drove that number straight to 3.5. That's where I think this number will close. I think the right number is 3.5 for this game. I don't believe this number is accurate. 4.5 and 5 is just too heavy for the way the Patriots are going to match up against the Seattle Seahawks. Let's make some plays here for tonight. All right. Just the Picks being brought to you by the Betting Pros Prop Bet Cheat Sheet. You guys can go and download it on the Betting Pros app, or you can go check it out at bettingpros.com/props for the NBA games coming up here for tonight, and obviously the Super Bowl coming up here on Sunday. We will do this, and then we'll let go of Sports Grid, and then we'll go and do bonus time. That obviously that crash of the power in my house, I don't remember how long that was, so we'll go a couple minutes over to give the guys on Sports Grid some extra time here for us for the replay on Sports Grid. But let's talk about Kansas tonight on the road against Texas Tech. I absolutely think this game is the game of the night. So KU was able to win and cover up against BYU, but Daryl Peterson didn't play in the second half because of cramps. Obviously, I need Peterson in the game the entire game. He can't miss the second half the way he did. KU was up huge on BYU. They won and covered, but it was close down the stretch. I mean, BYU came storming back with a bunch of threes at Fog Allen and made Jayhawk fans very uncomfortable. KenPom has this as a 2-point win for Texas Tech. Tech at home has been good. KU on the road's been great. KU has covered 5 straight games. They're hot. And as long as they've got their full complement of talent, I think they go into Texas Tech and they win the game outright here tonight. So I'm taking the 4.5. But I'll be very curious to see what happens with Peterson and the cramping. And can he play both halves? First half, second half. He was destroying BYU. I think he had 18 points in the first half, and then he just hung on. They just hung on against BYU. So they need him to play both halves. If Peterson's playing both halves, I think KU plus 4.5. I'll take the gamble that he's going to play both halves and be effective. I'm taking Kansas plus 4.5 tonight in college basketball. Then we're going to go. Did I not write that down? Oh, I didn't write it down. Sorry. We're going Syracuse and North Carolina. That total is now 157.5. Now it's 158. I got 156.5 last night. I still think the over is the play. North Carolina has been a dead over. 8 of the last 10 games for North Carolina have been over. 7 of the last 10 games for Syracuse have been over. I think you're going to see offense tonight on Chapel Hill. We're going over for Carolina and Syracuse. We will bet the over 156.5. It's now, I don't know if I go to 158. That's high. I don't know. The KU line move has not happened. It's 4.5 still. That number is still 4.5. So money on both sides. Some people like Texas Tech. Some people like Kansas. That number hasn't moved. But I like Kansas tonight at plus 4.5, as long as they keep all their talent healthy. If you guys are watching live, don't move. Replay, folks, thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Today, tomorrow, we're in Vegas. Wednesday, I don't know yet what's going on for Sports Grid for the replay. I got to figure out what we're doing for Wednesday. There may be just a best of show on Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, though, replayed from Radio Row. A ton of stuff coming up. 2, 3. We'll have best of shows for like weeks to go. And I'm going away in February. I'm going to Florida in February. So it's a great time to replay a bunch of the stuffs when I'm on the road and when I'm on vacation for February. But like, this is going to be an awesome week, Thursday and Friday, and Sports Grid is doing a great job of helping us book these guests. So it's going to be a really fun show from San Francisco on Thursday and on Friday. Bonus time starts now. All right, let's talk news of the industry because there's a couple really interesting stories. All right, news of the industry. I already told you already about the NFL deciding that they are not going to allow prediction markets to advertise during the Super Bowl. That is obviously a pretty big blow to the Kalshis of the world and the poly markets of the world. Poly market has been told to shut down here in Nevada and for 2 weeks, and they have voluntarily withdrawn from Nevada. So Polymarket is not operating right now in the state. We'll see if Kalshi follows suit with Nevada, but that came down this morning that Polymarket is pulled out of the state of Nevada from operating and offering prediction markets. But the CFTC chair, the new chair, is saying some pretty interesting things. And he spoke over the weekend, and he's sort of contradicting, not even sort of, he is contradicting what he told Congress when he was up for his confirmation to become the head of the CFTC. He said, and I quote, "Arbitrary, cumbersome, and opaque rules will not stand the test of time. The CFTC's approach should be to deliver the minimum effective dose of regulation, nothing more, nothing less. This means an end to policymaking through enforcement. And this means the agency's policy-making divisions will develop clear rules of the road for market participants that will codify through notice and comment rulemaking to ensure that the regulatory requirements do not change wildly from administration to administration." Do you guys know what that last line means? Do you understand what the guy is saying about regulatory requirements not changing wildly from administration to administration? He's trying to codify these rules so when the Trump administration is out of office coming up here in 2028, that the next administration cannot appoint somebody firing the new chair of the CFTC, because they will fire him immediately. And if it's a Democrat that happens, I don't know if a Republican comes in, I'm not sure, but given the polls and where we're going, it's probably going to be a Democrat to win the election. So a Democrat will come in and they will fire the head of the CFTC pretty fast. So they're trying to codify the rules to make sure that what they're doing, which some people would believe to be theft in broad daylight about what's been going on with prediction markets, that now they're going to make it so they cannot be repealed by the courts. They cannot be repealed by Congress, which is exactly the opposite of what he said when he was being confirmed, when he was up for his confirmation. This is what he said to Congress. And I'll just go down to the last two lines. But of course, I was not at the CFTC at the time that this portion of the Dodd-Frank Act was drafted. I was not working in this committee or on the Hill at that time. So these are just very challenging interpretive questions that I will look to the courts on. I will look to the courts on, meaning he said in his confirmation hearing that the new CFTC chair was going to allow the court cases to play out and then to dictate what can and cannot be offered in the prediction market space, i.e. elections and sports gambling. Those are the two main problems. Nobody else really And they should, but they don't really. Nobody else really cares about taking odds on what Trevor Noah was going to say last night at the Grammys, which there was millions. Great article. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Great article out today, this morning, by our friend David Payne Purnham of ESPN about the liquidity of the markets in the prediction market space about these award shows and what broadcasters and announcers are going to say. So much so that Trevor Noah made a joke about it, said, potato, if you had bet me to say potato, you've just won a lot of money. Okay. So like this is the joke he was making, but it's not that funny because there are ways of manipulating marketplaces like this when you just need someone to say a word, right? There's a big market for the Super Bowl where you can bet on what will the broadcasters say. Will Chris Collinsworth say, what a catch? There's a big market on that. There's a big market about what will be said about the Chiefs or Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce or Taylor Swift. These are all names, all numbers, all things you can bet on right now in the prediction market space, which is very easy to manipulate. But people generally don't care yet about those things. They care about the betting because 90% of Kalshi's handle is sport event contracts. So because of that, the CFTC is saying, we're going to codify the rules so that even when someone else in the court cases come in, we're going to make sure that even the courts cannot overrule this, and Congress will need to be the ones passing the law to make this happen, to allow this to keep going. Like this is just blatant puppetry going on at the moment, how to keep these things going. So it is a wild thing to watch about the CFTC and the new CFT's chair, because he told Congress, I will listen to the courts. And then once he got in, he goes out publicly and he repeals all the rules. And he's saying, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put this into a place that both judge and or Congress will have a very difficult time overruling the rules that we're going to put into place for event market, for prediction markets, which i.e. sports gambling and betting on the election. The election stuff is very tough. Okay. The election stuff is a complicated conversation because you have to ask about why do we need to take bets on elections? I understand that internationally it has been gigantic. It's been a huge, huge deal. In fact, if you remember what Dave said, if you could take betting on the election, that the handle would dwarf any Super Bowl by tenfold because you could take it for 10 years. For 4 years. You open up the market as to who is going to be the next president. And for 4 years, you have people betting into that market. And you just keep on taking it, and the handle goes up and up and up and up and up. I think it's true. But there is the downside. There is the other side of the coin. There is not the manipulation point, but I was having a conversation in New Orleans about somebody, and they were pretty passionate and pretty angry about prediction markets taking bets on the election, saying on CNN, if you have somebody who is standing in line or thinking about standing in line to go and vote, if they see on CNN that a prediction marketplace has an 85 or 90% prediction, money on the opposition, the other person that you were going to vote for, if that person is projected to win, well, then they're going to say, my vote doesn't matter. They're going to get out of line and they're going to go home. And is that what we want in a democracy where we are suppressing the vote by prediction marketplaces having a platform on CNN? It's a good question. It's one that's above my pay grade. I don't know how that impacts human behavior. I don't know how that factors in to an election. I do know that having gambling on elections is dangerous, and I would feel much more comfortable about a presidential market versus a state market versus, a Senate campaign or a House campaign. That would worry me. I think those could be potentially manipulated, in particular in smaller states. So that would worry me. But you can't fix the presidential election, no matter how many times someone wants to say they're fixing the presidential election. It's not being fixed. We have enough safeguards in place. So I'm cool with betting on the presidential election. That I'm good with. I'm not 100% down with like Supreme Court nominations. I'm not 100% down on House races. Like that's when it gets a little bit on the murkier side for me, but the prediction marketplace conversation is coming to a head fast, and they're trying to get it codified so it can't be touched when the next administration comes in. And that's the most fascinating part about all of this, is that they feel like they got a golden goose and they're trying to put this thing into a glass case and dropping it to the bottom of the ocean and nobody can go get it. That's what they're trying to do with this. Are they going to be successful? I don't know, but they've got the right people in place. They've got the president, they have the president's son, and now they have the head of the CFTC, who are all in lockstep to make sure that the prediction marketplace exists and is here. And we don't have much of a protection about all the other unscrupulous things that apparently appear to be happening in these markets every single day, because the manipulation is real. The manipulation is 100% real. Only question is going to be is, does anybody do anything about it? Does anybody actually care? Favorite thing about today. It's Super Bowl week, baby. Let's go. Favorite thing about today is we've got here. We are counting it down. Today's show is done. We'll do tomorrow, and then we will go Wednesday morning on a plane to San Francisco. It's a quick little hop, skip, and a jump for me here in Vegas. Hour and 20 flight up to San Francisco. I will go straight to the media center. We will check in, we will set up, and then we will do a bunch of content on Wednesday afternoon for BVB. Then Thursday and Friday live from the set. Adam Bjorn on Thursday, Sim Harmon co-hosting with me on Friday. Numerous big name guests to sit down and have conversations with us throughout the entire program. It is the fourth time that BVB will be live from Media Row. Cannot wait to get up there. Looking at people's hits here Monday, Tuesday, I think I made the right call by saying there's no need for me to go up there on Monday and Tuesday. Like, there's just, regardless of the cost of it, that's not even the problem. The cost of it's not even the issue. It's, are the guests worth it? There's just not a lot going on there right now. Like, it's boring. There's just nothing there. It's not like on the three previous Super Bowls, two of them, we went Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way through the whole week. And Monday and Tuesday was dead. And then by the time you get to Thursday and Friday, you're running out of gas. You've been there. You haven't slept in your bed. You're tired. It gets to be too much. So going up there for Wednesday night and Thursday night, coming back late Friday night, I think is going to be perfect. I cannot wait to get rolling with it. Hopefully everything there. And yeah, and there was an earthquake this morning. Good point, JC. There was an earthquake in San Francisco this morning. It was only like a 4.6% or 4.6 on the Richter scale, but it's still still earthquake in San Francisco today. So good to be here in Vegas. Looking forward to getting up there. Tomorrow, we're back at 1:00 Eastern time. We will get further into the game itself, prop bets and other things that I think you guys can take action on now for the Super Bowl. We will do it tomorrow, 1:00 Eastern time. Hope to see you all back here for a new episode of the Bostonian versus the Book.